Oh, hey there. Welcome to Unimaginable Futures Class 9. Yay! Tonight we're going to talk about, or today we're going to talk about synthetic kind of timelines that can come in, synthetic energies that can come in, um, and also just timelines of things. So when synthetic or data streams come in, it's almost like, and we talked a little bit on this last class, that it's almost like a memory that you're like, huh, I don't know why that's coming in. I haven't thought about that in years or whatever. And a lot of times it's just manipulation going, oh, let's send this in so that they look at this. And um, so anyway, we're going to play with that a little bit tonight. So how often have you had awarenesses that that has happened in your life? Um, And has it happened recently? And if it has, how many times does it usually happen? Or it might not have happened yet at all. Any and all of that is perfectly fine. I just want to just create awareness around it so that when it does come in and you have these things that seem to come out of nowhere and that could kind of almost send your energy off, make it really wonky, kind of make you look down that rabbit hole at whatever that is. And then it kind of, it's all the same types of energies that we've talked about over the last 8 weeks. Is all of this is sending you into walkie energy that sends you sideways, that kind of makes you go, oh, what is that? And then you kind of go down into a rabbit hole. And the way that I describe it is, if you saw a rattlesnake in the middle of the road, would you pick it up and take it home? No, you would not. And if you found a rattlesnake in your house, would you just let it stay there? So that's how I want you to think of these. And I apologize, I've got a little bit of glare off my glasses. I'll try to rearrange this here so it'll be a little bit better. What I want you to do is just be aware of that and just kind of consider these energies like that uninvited guest or that thing in the middle of the road that could bite you if you so stopped and picked it up. And that's when we're looking at it. Oh, what is that? So I'm trying to think of something that happened to me recently where a memory came in and I was like, that's weird. I haven't thought about that in years. And it kind of started to send me down to like, oh, remember? And then I was like, no, 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 out. So what you want to do when those things come up is just out. Just clear it. Just incinerate it, or whatever you've been using that seems to work. I like to act like I'm energetically incinerating things, and then just ask a lot of questions around it. Not around it to try to figure out what it is, but almost like questions beyond it. Because whenever kind of synthetic energies come in, and I apologize, I've kind of been in synthetic energies all day today, just being in traffic and with everything going on out there in the world. My whole day was seemed to be locked up in this thing, and I had to go to a doctor's appointment with my mother, so that had to happen. But once we got there, it was like, didn't even seem like we needed to do that. But anyhow, at the end of the day with all of this, just make sure that you go back to your awareness on everything. And then if your awareness seems a little wonky, use that Mac Daddy clearing that's in the site. That's any unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, manipulation, Wernicke's command stack stringers, or any other like energies up here, clear. And just clear it. And then ask again if you're not getting a clear answer. Because there's some energies coming in lately that have just, it's even been sending me off, and I've done a lot of this work. So don't beat yourself up about it. Just know that, kind of go back to the funny thing of like, if I saw a rattlesnake in the middle of the road, would I stop and take it home? Or would I look at it closer? No, you wouldn't want to look at that closer. You just want to like get away from it, oust it, get out from wherever it is, because it'll pull you into a wonky energy. Then you'll be in the why, or what is this, and then it'll sidetrack you, Next thing you know, a day or two or 10 might have gone by and you're still in that wonky energy. Okay, so when that comes up, just know that you can clear it. Just sense what the energy is, get a sense of it. You don't have to don't go too far into it, because we're kind of taught as infinite beings and energy beings and sensitive beings. Oh, we got to look at it to clear it. No, that's an old paradigm. We don't have to look at it to clear it. We can actually sense the energy and just clear it. So whether these are timeline manipulations or synthetic overlays that come in and try to throw you off. And, you know, that's where just reading the energy and playing around this whole last 8 weeks with reading energy will help you oust that out quicker than you have to take it on. Okay. So what if we could just have a knowing that we could just incinerate it and move it on in our reality outside the structure of this reality? And just get back to your authentic universe, your body's authentic body, your authentic being, and the authentic energy of the authentic universe. Because kind of what's going on right now, crazy but true, is that there's just a lot of manipulation with that. There's kind of like the flip of a coin. Like you might see a mirror image of something. There's people out there playing with non-authentic planets. There's people out there playing with non-authentic things, and it's almost like that house of mirrors that can pull you in, and you're not really sure what's what. But if you know your energy, you're very clear on your energy, you're clear on the energies that you would like your life to be, you're clear on where you would like to move to, then you're standing in your authentic power. We talked about this a little bit last time. You're standing in your authentic power, and you're able to walk through. If you find yourself you're trying to clear, doesn't seem to be clearing, you're still kind of going sideways, or you're kind of getting into a little bit of a bunge, that's what we would call a fracture. That's what kind of I learned via Jane Fox, but it's what you call a fracture. And that's when you feel really compressed in the energy and you're just like, bye, and you feel like you kind of just can't seem to get stuck out of that. I will send you some tools to work with that over the coming week. We're not gonna kind of oust those out here, just because I want to focus on expanding your energy out and also getting clear on the energy that you are. And then also, let's look at the timeline aspect of this. Let's play a little bit more. I want to focus more on that part of it, because we can clean and clear a timeline that might have been kind of infiltrated with the synthetic energy, or something that wasn't a contribution to you. And I would ask, you know, what would my life be like in 10 years if I clear this? And what would my life be like in 10 years if I don't clear this? And chances are, if you're clearing something and something keeps coming in, a lot of times it is either agreements that you might have in place across all lifetimes, and you might be clearing just the basics of it, but you're not getting down to the root of it. So let's look at that today. Let's look at the timeline cleaning. Let's look at asking questions around that, and let's look at just any energies that might be coming in that you're clearing, then seem to come right back. Okay, so first we'll go into the timeline cleaning of things. So is there anything up for you right now that you would like to look at a timeline that could just be cleaned? Let's look at where the rattlesnake might be sitting. So let's say, so for me, like last week, I kind of got sent into a little bit of a fracture, which is where I felt really compressed, and I was trying to clear, and I couldn't seem to get beyond it. And I finally reached out for some help and got assistance in stepping beyond it. just know that with all these energies, we have these clearings and tools that we can use, but there's also the choosing beyond it that you can do. And so the question that's associated with that is, what awareness, energy, and frequency can me and my body be to choose beyond this or create beyond this? Because no matter what heaviness or wonkiness of energy comes up, you can always choose beyond it. You don't have to stay in that. And that's where, you know, these tools of cleaning a timeline and then popping it back into your timeline. So any timeline manipulations or any other stack stringers or other manipulation energies that are in place in your timeline, let's just sense that for a second and see what comes up. You sense that? Okay. So let's just take our energetic fingers. I'm gonna make it seem like it's like my regular fingers. What I do is I usually like take my energetic fingers, sense the energy of what we just sensed, and put your right hand just beyond where whatever this energy starts on the timeline, okay? And if you're not sensing it, that's okay. We're just gonna go ahead and just do it anyway, okay? As we start to become more and more aware and expand our awareness on all these things, there's things that are going to show to you and things that might not show in the beginning, but they'll eventually kind of come to you. And don't make yourself wrong if it does or it doesn't, okay? So put your energetic fingers just beyond on your timeline where that Buki energy starts. And then take your left hand and put your energetic fingers around where that energy kind of ends. And you'll kind of sense it. There'll be like a little, almost like for me, it's usually like a bounce of energy, like I'm just beyond it. So are you willing to shrink that down to less than nothing? Yes, cool. So we're going to just do 1, 2, 3 and shrink it down to less than nothing. Then we're going to share it. And then we're going to cleanse, purify, and sterilize the timeline. Are there any other little energetic crumbs that might have been left behind from that? And cleanse it. And then once it feels lighter and cleansed, you're going to just place it back into your timeline and just poof. Cool. And you might sense it kind of like expand a little bit. There's more expansion energy once we clear it, clean it, clear it, and put it back in. And play around with that for yourself for anything that might be showing up in your life that just seems to keep on going and going and going. A lot of times the cleansing of the timelines can get rid of it. Sometimes if there's still a little inkling of it, we might look at agreements, security agreements, or contractual agreements that we've had, or lineage agreements, which are agreements that our families might have had. Because we're in that family, somehow we get locked into whatever that is. So any timelines that are up with anybody? Okay, timeline. I'm sorry, timelines. Any agreements that are up with anybody? So let me just do an unconscious Santa, any unconscious Santa, conscious energy, fog manipulation, warning keys, command, stack stringers, or any other like energies up here. Clear, because I'm getting a little messed with here because I'm sharing this information. So any agreements, allegiances, alliances, splittos, codicils, or any other like agreements up here across all lifetimes, past, present, future, space-time, dimension, multiverse, universe, or any space-time I haven't mentioned here. And then just clear. Incinerate. Vanish. Body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours. Body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours. Body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours. A lot of times our body will take that on. And so we just need to keep saying that body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours, until we kind of feel our body finally just like, and then we know that it's released. So once you sense that wonkiness energies, you use these tools to clear everything. What else is possible from here? questions, choice, ask questions. What awareness, energy, and frequency can me and my body be to now choose and create beyond anything with total ease and just receive. Now, when we're asking about awareness, energy, and frequency, we're usually looking for an energetic answer. We've talked a little bit about this before. And the thing that you'll just sense is like, for me, it just seems like there's just this beautiful expansion of energy when I'm onto something. But it's different for everybody. So just sense what that is for you and what that says for you and how that can open up things for you in the whole scheme of things. Got it? Cool. So if we're asking questions and we are just going through the timelines, we've cleansed the timeline, we've asked the questions, we've received the energy from there, just and what really requires to, what really is asking to be created here beyond this, and just receive and see what energy. And chances are you can keep asking that question over and over and over again. That's one of the ones that's really kind of cool to open up energies. It's kind of like what I talked about on the Q&A call, where I called in the naked man from the airport so I could get on my flight. And if you haven't listened to that, just it's in the first Q&A, where I thought I was going to be late for a flight. And so I just kept asking, what else is possible? What else is possible? How can it get any better than this? And long story short, there was a crazy kind of naked man running around the front of the airport. They halted all the flights for like 30 or more minutes, and I was able to catch my flight. Now, could I have ever in a million years said that that would be the reason why I could catch my flight? No. What I did was I declared, I'm getting on this flight. I'm getting on this flight. You kind of have to like state your demand to the universe in a way that you just know that this is going to happen. And I call those mic drops. So I'm getting on this flight, and then mic drop. And then you could let go of all the ways that your mind would go to make it happen. You let go of all the ways that, your mind tries to get involved, because your mind can send you very much sideways. And when I did a lot of access consciousness work, they would say like, your mind, your thinking is stinking. Like, you just want to have the mind out of the equation and really go back to our original following the energy for everything. Because that's really our natural abilities. That's our natural magic that we have that has been bastardized and made wrong and pushed down and all that stuff over who knows how many years. But I know all of my lifetime, I've been made wrong for that. I had really strong abilities always. I would get I call them all the clairs, like all the clairsentient, clairaudient, I would hear things, I would get pictures, and I still get a lot of that, but I'm able to see like what's authentic and what's synthetic. Synthetic, again, I know we talked a little bit about this in previous classes. Synthetic, again, is just, it can't create to the level that a creator can create. And you wouldn't be in this class if you were not a creator, by the way. So there's creator beings. There's kind of beings who have been a little bit infiltrated that could be programmed. It seems to, well, a lot of times it's a lot of the military. It's a lot of like people that do those jobs that, they could show up and they're still have the ability of being human, but they're infiltrated a little bit. They have a little bit of interference coming through them. There's also other beings around there, but just know that if you're in this class, you're pretty much a creator being. You're pretty much saying that you're a creator being, and know that you can create anything and also create beyond anything. So we're going to play more in the space of creating beyond whatever is showing up. Even though I will share the tools of, like, if you get in that compressed state, how you can get out of it. And we'll probably dive a little bit more into that next class. This class, I really want you to focus on what it is, still focusing on what it is you would like your life to be. And is that showing up? Now, usually I'll get a call or two of like, well, I'm asking for this, but this is showing up. And what does that mean? Is it the universe is trying to punish you, that you are just never going to ever get whatever it is that you want? You might not. You just eventually, if that keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening, you kind of get to a WTF space with it, right? So the thing is, if we're always in the space of letting go how anything shows up, and we just do the mic drop and say, I'm having it. But we don't go into like, there's a possibility space there. There's an energy there. There's an energy to that where you're not going to doubt or fear or any of those other, there's blame, shame, regret, guilt, doubt, fear. Access consciousness calls them distractor implants. I think of them more as a synthetic, and it's the same type of thing where it's synthetic energy that's coming in to try to stop you. So what is the energy that usually stops you? Is it fear? Is it doubt? I know doubt's a big one for me. Doubt can send me into a tailspin like nobody's business, and it has over the years. And as I become more and more astute at really being clear of my own energy, I'm like, no, out. We're not buying it. No, 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 we're not buying it. Because I know that magic exists. I also know that there's a black magic, but we're talking about the real magic, the light magic, the magic that we know has happened in our lives again and again, where maybe a family member got past cancer and they're now cancer free. And they were told that they would die within, however many months. There's people that are told, kids with autism or kids with ADHD or whatever, that they might never be out there functioning in a way out in the real world. And we know by watching things and reading stories and all that other stuff from that basis that there's no amount of like finality or point of view that can ever hold that in place if you are in the space of possibility. So that's where I want you to get used to playing in. Because again, we have been trained and ingrained to look at the opposite. I just spent a good bit of time with a friend that just complained about it. I mean, just everything. And I thought, wow, where have I done that in my life? When in actuality, when I look around, I am so thankful for all the amazing gifts I've had my whole life, the amazing people that I've met, the people who have been an amazing contribution, the people who have shown up when I wasn't really sure what next step to take. I was just telling my mom earlier that when I broke up, I was engaged for a while, and we broke up, and I really was kind of just in the space of like, my life is really not working. That was about, was that 2012, I think? And I decided to the the ocean was calling me, Monterey, California was calling me. I had seen a couple movies. So I just decided to take a couple weeks off at the end of the year. I wasn't going to do Christmas with my family. I just decided I just wanted to be in the space of me and really figure out what that was, because I had spent my time in these relationships where I gave my power away, I gave myself away, I was making sure that everybody else was okay, but I wasn't putting the mask on myself. And My money was a good bit gone. Like I was having struggles with that. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't really sleeping. I was probably drinking a little bit more alcohol. I don't really drink a whole lot at this point, but you get the picture. So um, I went to go around Monterey and just kind of stay in this really beautiful resort. It was, oh, it's so gorgeous. It was right by the ocean. When I got out of my little rental car, there were deers that kind of followed me up to where my room was. And I had to go to breakfast every morning, kind of, and sit at these big round tables. So I was meeting new people every single day, and people were just so kind and friendly. Um, and one day I sat at this huge, like this was kind of how this place was built. Like if you went to eat, you sat at a big table with all different kinds of people. It's kind of like when I went to Munich and you go to the beer house or whatever, and everybody sits at the table and everybody kind of talks to each other and sees what are going on and all that stuff. And you get to meet a lot of interesting people. And at the end of the day, people were so kind. I kind of just said, hey, I'm just, taking some time to myself, enjoying the beautiful place, trying to figure out what step is next. And I had people saying, oh, we have this, business conference here. You really should you could look into this company or that company if marketing is what you do, because marketing is my other business. And I was doing energy work at that time too, because I've done it for a long, long time. But so anyway, I went to go sit at this big table one day, and there was a grandfather with his family. It was a pretty large family. And they said, oh, can we, share the table with you? And I said, sure, I'm just finishing up and I should be leaving in just a minute. And they were like, oh, you don't have to leave. And so they started talking to me and asking me questions. And I was asking them, what they were doing, because it was around Christmas. And the grandfather picked something up out of his pocket, handed it to his grandson to walk it over to me. And it was this little glass angel. And it still kind of makes me cry to think of it today, because it was so touching. But the grandson handed it to me and said, here, my grandfather wants you to have this. And the grandfather says to me, you have angels watching over you, and they know that you have been walking through a struggle, and just know that they're there for you to lift you up when needed, and that you're doing a great job and you have an amazing abilities, and just keep going. And I was like, whoa. And I think a couple days before that, I had asked a bunch of questions of like, universe, just show me a sign, because I was really kind of at my wit's end at that point. I had come out of a relationship. It was a bad breakup, not on my part, but the other person's part. And they were just very cruel. And it kind of made me, and I had done so much for this person and their kids and, family, etc. I was just kind of dumbfounded. So we're going to have those places I just wanted to share that with you, because I know we're going to sometimes just have those spaces in our life where we're just like, WTF. I've shown up, I've been kind, I've been giving, I've been loving, I've, paid for things, I've done this, I've done that. And, it doesn't always show up on the other side as that back, right? And that's when we know that there's some kind of incongruence with the energies we would like our life to be and where we are. And there's nothing wrong with that gap. It's not a punishment. It's not the universe. It's not the devil coming in. It's not any of those things, other than just the space of where you are now and where you would like to be, and the gap in between. And how do you close that gap? You sense the energies that aren't aligning with the energies you would like your life to be. You oust them out, and you mic drop a lot. So you might want to play with that this coming week. Like, what can you mic drop on that, not coming from a place of like projections, expectations, really solidified, this has to be it. but more of a general space of, I just want to be a contribution out in the world. And I would like my life to be elegance, and I would like my life to be play, and I would like my life to be abundance, and I would like my life to be, whatever those words are for you. And when you're in the general space of those words, do a mic drop. Like, I'm having a big, beautiful life. I'm going to be the CEO of whatever. I'm going to create whatever that wild idea is that you have, without any expectation about how that needs to show up. And you'll be surprised at how fast things will come to meet you. Now, what happens if you do that and you sense that energies aren't opening up the way that you would like them to? Well, usually, as we've kind of said before, and this is just a reminder of that, you might have some points of view in place. Usually there's polarity that's standing in between you and whatever it is you want. So what points of view might I have in place here that if I shifted them or let them go, could change everything here to my greatest local advantage? And be willing to ask for anything from your greatest local or your greatest local authentic advantage. Now, the other thing about synthetic energies, and I'm just going to kind of go back to that because we've kind of gone places I wasn't expecting to go in this call, but I get that they're usually a contribution, even sometimes when I think I'm going sideways. So there's a thing about synthetic that it's almost like nothing may seem to work your day, and my day has actually been like that today. So it's kind of funny that we're talking about this, and it's probably meant to give me a greater awareness of some things around that too. So nothing was easy today. I had a certain amount of calls I was going to get on with my mom because we've got to figure out some numbers and stuff for her taxes, and also kind of get things shifted in some of her accounts. And nothing went easy. So synthetic. Because authentic is usually just like, wow, things are just falling into place and I barely had to do anything. This is really cool. How cool is this? Things may not work. It might be that your oven all of a sudden doesn't work, your faucet doesn't all of a sudden work, your car might all of a sudden not start, weird stuff like that. Ask, am I in a synthetic reality or a synthetic universe here? And then if I am, oust it out. Oust it out. Because all it is usually is an overlay, an energetic overlay of where you are that kind of looks like your, place of living or working or whatever, but it's not. And that's how you know. I had a trip that I took where I went to this restaurant and they had all this music and they said, oh, somebody will be right over to wait on you. And I sat there for 2 hours. And I only sat there for 2 hours because I really loved the music. I think I finally walked up to the bar to get something to drink, but nobody ever waited on me. They kept walking around me and they would wait on everybody else. And I would have just, if I really absolutely had to have something, I would have kind of like, and I did go to the bar again to just kind of get some water or something, but it was wild because it was like I was there and not there. And that's how synthetic can show up. It's like you're there and not there because it's an energetic overlay that's simulated to look like real life. Sounds kind of crazy, but true. And I'm sure you're acknowledging right now that this has happened to you before. Things don't show up the same in a synthetic environment. And there might be places around you that you sense, like when you go into them, nothing seems entirely like authentic, but it's acting like that. So there's parts of this, and that's kind of how the data streams and synthetic mind streams can come in like that. It seems real, but it's really not. And the thing that it wants to do is sidetrack you, send you to that fear, send you to that doubt, blame, shame, regret, guilt, to where you're spending time there rather than creating. So again, just getting a sense of what your energy is. Wait, so let's do that now. Like, just sense your authentic and any unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy, fog, manipulation, warning keys, command stack, stringers, or any other like energies up here cleared. So let's sense our authentic energy, our own authentic energy space. Do you sense a certain energy that you're used to or maybe not used to? And if there's anything of that that's not you, incinerate, oust it out of your being in your body. Okay, that helped me there. I must have had some kind of energy tingling around still from running around today. Sense your authentic energy. And it'll kind of be like a little buzzing or a little yummy space or, whatever that is for you. And so let's expand. Let's expand to all the continents. And then expand to the authentic universe. And then the authentic multiverse. And the authentic beyondiverse. And the authentic infinite being space. There we go. Cool. And anything that wasn't able to expand, just oust it out. Again, that's kind of a way to see if there's any interference there. So get the sense of that. And from here, this is your authentic space. So when you're asking the questions, it'll actually help to ask from the space. When you're doing the mic drop, it'll help to mic drop from this place. So it's kind of like universe, I choose whatever that is for you. Like universe, I choose prosperity now. Universe, I'm choosing prosperity now. Universe, I've chosen prosperity now. Bring it to me now. Bring it. And you could almost like do a mic drop with that and walk away and just know that the universe is going to bring it to you somehow. And if you find that synthetic energy is coming in as fear or doubt or whatever, just oust it out. Start to get to know what will sidetrack you. And you might want to start tracking that and just see what comes in to try to stop you. Like, oh, yeah, I did this mic drop and then all of a sudden this fear thing came in. Nope, oust it out. You don't have to be fearful. I spent a lot of my early life thinking that fear was real and that fear needed to be an intense part of my life. I was fearful of so many things. How about you? Have you had a lot of fear in your life? Do you have things that will automatically send you into fear? A lot of times money has a lot of that around it. And my dad was a CPA, my mom worked in accounting, so it was kind of like money will just kick stuff up, even if there's nothing to be kicked up, right? Yeah. So what is that for you that sends you to a fear space or a guilt space or a doubt space? And what are those energies that normally try to stop you? Is it doubt? What makes you feel so small? What makes you feel like you're just a worthless pile of poop? What makes you feel like that? Doubt? Yeah, doubt's a big one for me. So let's oust that out for good. I say we put all those supposed implants, distractor implants, as they're listed, and they are listed on the member site. So if you need a reference for that, just look on the member site, and there's a list of pretty much all of them there. And if you have some more of your own, then just add those to the list. Let me know. I'm happy to add them on, because there's so many distractors that can be distracting us from the beautiful space of possibility of our life. So now that you're aware of synthetic energies, how they can come in, how they can kind of infiltrate your thoughts, your body, and if you align with them, or you might not even, like, if you have polarity with them, then you'll end up like solidifying them in your body somehow, and that's when they keep coming back and coming back and coming back. So wherever you've aligned and agreed with, resisted or reacted to, defended for or defended against, righteous for, righteous against, whatever that is, that's up for you, just clear. Revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, destroy, and uncreate, make null and void. Body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours. Body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours. And I tend to like do the hand poos because that helps move energies out of my body. But if there's something different that works for you, please feel free to do that. I just do that because it helps kind of take it from my body and like throw it back out there into the world. I don't want to take it back on. I don't know about you. But there's different levels and layers of this synthetic energy. So I just wanted to give you an introduction to how that can work in your reality. It's basically there to try to stop you. It's basically there to sidetrack you, distract you. That's the name, distractor implants, and make you doubt like your existence. And a lot of times you'll feel like, oh, I don't even want to be here. Where is it that I'm, not willing to be fully here? And I just don't want to deal with this planet any further. Those are the types of things that will come through that are synthetic. Because at the end of the day, we wouldn't be here if we didn't want to be here. We wouldn't have signed on to, and it's funny that I'm saying signed on. So whatever that is, any contracts, agreements, allegiances, alliances, flows, codicils, or any other like agreements up here, lineage agreements, tangled agreements, clear. Revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, destroy, and uncreate, make null and void. Body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours. Because if you've ever signed a contract, then chances are, and we have to do it on all these electronic things pretty much every day when they're updating something. Oh, do you agree? Yeah, sure, I consent. Well, do you? Like, do you really know what you're consenting through? So usually, like, I'll do it just to get it, and then I'll send a flame through it, like an energetic fireball through it, to kind of like lose my signature. Or I just put a line. I don't sign anything anymore. I just kind of put a line on stuff because I don't want my signature on anything. It's the way that the world works now. Like, somebody could lift it, put it on something else, make you tied to some other agreement over here. And what's the easiest way for these synthetic energies or interference energies to mess with you? With all of that is that. So I just put a line down. I'm not signing anything. But, within the context of this world, you got to check this box and put your initials here and blah, blah, blah. And, I've been taking my mom to the doctor a lot, and God, there's so much contractual stuff there that they make you sign. And like, who the hell reads all that stuff? I mean, I do, but it's just weird, bizarre stuff. At the end of the day, like, if everything is working out to your natural, authentic advantage, what could show up for that? Where could you be aware? Like, pull up any and all agreements that you might have made across all lifetimes and just sense them, and then send an energetic incinerator through all of that. and then just kind of grab up any papers, that energetic papers that still might be there, and say, hey, this is done. Boom. And give them back to whoever they originated from energetically. And then revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate. Make null and void. Body, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not you, not yours. Not you, not yours. Because your body is usually pretty smart about that stuff. If you ask it, like where all those things across all lifetimes are, and then just pull them all up energetically and either incinerate them, send them back, say that it's done, revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate that, then that'll help unravel those energies that might keep locking you in with all this stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. But if you have any questions, please reach out to me. But that'll kind of give you a bigger picture of all of this. So if you're ever in a contracted space, just start with that expansion exercise that I send out on each of these play sheets. Start with that first. See if there's some energy in there within you that's not expanding out, and just incinerate it because it's not you. And then start asking possibility, awareness, energy, and put awareness, energy, and frequency questions. What awareness, energy, and frequency can me and my body be, or me and my body and the planet be, to create beyond all this with total ease and receive? And just as an FYI, sometimes ease can be a little wonky or messed with. So if that seems to be the case, then let's put another word in there for you, whatever that is for you. I call it the ah factor, whatever could be like the ah factor of me receiving everything I would just love, everything I would love my life to be. And the other part of this is, if you're clear on the energies you would like your life to be, and if you haven't yet gone through this, I'm just going to give another reminder. This is what this whole class is built on. You want to go back to those first intro calls and write that down for yourself and look at that every single day. Okay? And then if they've changed and shifted as you've gone along and as you've expanded your awareness, I know I've worked with some folks one-on-one also that, like, as they went through the process, it was like, you know, that word just isn't really reading for me. And it'll be a few weeks in. It's like, this word, you know I put it down. Generally, the energy of it seemed to be calling me, but it itself is not. Look at a thesaurus that can help you maybe get to the energy of the word that you would like, that really resonates with your being in your body. And you'll get that in your being in your body if you say a word and it's like, ah. When I say playful, I'm like, because I love to play and giggle and all that other stuff, it's like my body just goes. So that's when I know, like, okay, that's one of my words. Cool, playful. And what was the other one that was showing up in cool ways? Elegance. I was asking for elegance to show up, and it really did show up in so many cool ways. Not only just in travel, like in little upgrades or just gifts that I would get out of the blue, or things that I had been associated in the past, like elegance was just showing up. It's like, and that's not necessarily associated with money, although it can be. Like, I had another friend that had asked for like first class experiences, and that's kind of what was showing up for her. She was getting upgraded when she did get on flights. She would get these opportunities to be involved in these really cool things that kind of put her in a place of like upgraded experience. So that's all personal to you. I can't really tell you. I mean, I could have awareness around what you may want, but at the end of the day, you're the one that decides those words for you. But know that they're not locked in. Like, you really kind of have 3 to 5 to start with, only because I want to keep this simple. I don't want you to get overwhelmed, because what happens with an overwhelmed mind or an overwhelmed being body? you're not going to move forward with this class. So I want to keep this easy. Let's keep it to 3 to 5. And if something seems like a better word, even once you start, then just shift it. That's all you have to do. There's no right or wrong to that, that you have to be married to these 3 to 5 words. Now, I would say if you have a little bit more than that, look at that and see if there's a combination that you could do to kind of get it down to 5, because I really do want to keep this simple. And if you really truly can't, then reach out to me and we'll talk further about it and see what can be a assistance to you, okay? Because I want you to get the greatest benefit from this class. I realize we're sharing a ton of information. I'm also sending a bunch of contributory energy to shift while we're on this hour together, okay? So I know that because it is a lot of energy and it is sharing a lot of information, sometimes it might seem too intense for you. Just expand out so that you can receive everything that you're meant to receive with it, because it really should be easeful. And these things, even though some of the tools are a little bit more, in depth, I feel like most, and I have been told by students that said that this class changed their life, like these are actually simple shifts that when I made them, like I was surprised that they worked. Like simple shifts. You can make these simple shifts and be in the space that you would like to be. And that's how far away you are to receiving all that you're asking for. It could be just the simplest of shifts away. It could be the simplest of expansion of awareness. And as you expand your awareness out, as we go through the final weeks here, and you could probably, like, if you look at where you were when you started versus where you are now, like, sense the energy difference. Pretty cool. And just receive that. Receive it. And I usually just touch my heart and receive. Oh, yeah. Receive that. And what if we just shifted our mindset from this isn't showing up, which is kind of what we've been taught, like to look at all the things that are going wrong, all the things that haven't shown up. So let's just reverse that energy now and just truly have a gratitude for all that this universe has given us, not only in an energetic contribution, but also with things too. I mean, I'm grateful for my beautiful home. I could sell it at any time. But right now it's just very elegant to me. I'm getting ready to kind of change the colors and stuff of this because I've had this for quite a while, but I love like playing with colors, and I love decorating, and I love finding little things that kind of go together, and it just it can change the energy of a room like that. And so what is that elegance for you? Or whatever word is on your list. Like for me, it's elegance. Are you willing to receive all the elegance or whatever that word is on your list? Are you willing to receive all that could be and all the contribution that could be in your life? Yeah. Are you willing to receive that? Cool. And how does it get any better than that? And what else is possible? And what awareness, energy, and frequency can you and your body be to be the energy of elegance with total ease, and just receive? And where can this class be the biggest contribution to you that you haven't fathomed yet? Yet, the unimaginable future that you haven't even fathomed yet. So what would your life be like in 10 years if you listened to these classes 2, 3, 4 times. You have the ability to do the audio or the video, whatever works best for you. What if you just listen to that while you're asleep? What if you listen to it while you're working out, or whatever that is for you? What if you just listen to that? Pretty cool. Yeah, just receive. What awareness, energy, and frequency can you and your body be to receive everything you could have ever fathomed with ease? And when you are in that authentic energy, things do go simply. They go much simpler. Things just show up. Things fall into place. When you know that a synthetic time stream may have come in, like if everything's rolling along and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, like this one thing that was supposed to work is not working. Don't necessarily have to go into what is that. You might have to just to shift it, but don't go too deep in. Because the thing is, like, the synthetic isn't deep, but the thing that it will do is kind of be like a tar baby. I consider it like I have a friend that will ask me the same questions over and over and over again, whether I've replied to her or not. And it's like that. It's like nobody's hearing you and nobody's getting anywhere because somebody's asking the same question and you're giving them the same answer, but they're just either not listening or they're not paying attention, or because it's not the answer that they're wanting, they're asking you the same question over and it's just like a large waste of time. That's what that synthetic energy puts you in. It's just a large waste of time when you try to look at it too closely. There's really not a whole lot of, like, it's just an energy that's coming in that's there to try to trigger you. And we all have been, I mean, I've been triggered a lot over the past 10 years, especially over the last 5 years. I've been triggered a ton because I've been stepping into greater and greater possibilities and greater just authentic power. So let's do an exercise right now just to kind of step into our authentic power. And just what awareness, energy, and frequency can you and your body be to step into your authentic local power with ease and just receive. That makes my body tingle. We hope you got a fun reaction to that. Yeah. So this week we've talked about synthetic energies coming in, cleaning and clearing a timeline, being still very clear on the energies you would like your life to be, keeping them down to about 5, taking them out to play every day, not taking that rattlesnake that's out in the middle of the road, aka synthetic energies or other interferences, picking it up and taking it with you, not, just oust it out. It's like the unwanted guests we don't want in our house. We wouldn't expect to just let them stay here if we did not want them to be. Okay? And so play more with that, play in the energy of that, look at what could be possible for you. And then let me see if I wrote any questions down for you guys this week. Okay, so yeah, this week I want you to think about at least 3 things you'd like to focus on receiving, like increased income, ease with body, whatever that is, releasing of body stuff. And then I've got a few questions on here, so we'll just do a quick thing. Then ask these 3 things below. So stay in the space for at least 10 seconds or more, and then see what works for you. Okay. You'll receive the energy in your being and your body as energy, and then you'll do this daily for your 3 things. So I want you to just play this week with these questions. So these are the questions. What does authentic body truly desire and receive? And what does authentic being truly desire and receive? And then think about the three things that you're thinking. You can put them in the blanks here. So what potential for receiving, and I'll just say for me, like increased income is now available and receive. And if I already had increased income, and fill in the blank for whatever works with you, ease with body, what would it look like and receive? And what actions can I take for increased income to actualize right away and receive? And then what are all the things in the way of receiving increased income? Pull up that energy and just incinerate. Or revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate, make it null and void, body, let it go, let it go, let it go, not you, not you. So asking the questions can have even more, give you more energy awareness when you expand your energy out. So if you do the expansion exercise, then ask these questions, read the instructions on the sheet, and then just play with whatever three things that you would like to play with this week. And I would love to see what shows up for you this week and what aligns with you, what is easeful, what might be coming up that's, you know, kind of, and again, if you're asking for these certain energies and something else is coming up, there's just a small gap there. It's just energy. It could be a cleansing of the timeline. It could be incinerating or ousting out energies that aren't to your contribution or not willing to receive. It could be polarity, anywhere where you're aligning and agree with, resisting, reacting to. And again, doesn't matter which side you're on that polarity, it will always stick you in your body. How do I know? Let's just say I know. So yeah, that expansion exercise can help have a greater awareness with everything. So you would use that, you would not use that for what reason this week? And if you haven't been using it, or maybe there's interference on you using it, that's almost where I go, oh, there's something I need to look at here because I'm having this reaction to it. Or I'm not, for some reason, I'm not doing it. Look at it closely and just do it and see what shifts with just that choice. Because that's where heavy and light can kind of mess with you a little bit. You say, oh, if it feels light, then it's, you know, supposed to be right. And then if it's heavy, it's the. But there could be a small heaviness there and a bigger light, and there's a mixture of heavy and light. And so that's where that Mac Daddy clearing of all the unconsciousness, that anti-consciousness, energy fog, manipulation, warning keys, commands, stack stringers, or any other like energies up here cleared helps. And then ask again. But when you do it from an expanded place, then your awareness is a bit more expanded and you can kind of see more when you're asking. And the energy that you're receiving when you're asking, you know, you'll have more of an awareness around. And if there is that mixture of heavy and light, that'll give you more clarity of what, you know, okay, what part of it is light, what part of it is heavy, or is it like, is there interference, is that heavy interference here? If the heavy is interference, then just oust it out and move it along to where you have to be. Okay? Pretty wild, crazy stuff, huh? But it does work. So play with it this week. I'll be sending out this play sheet with everything. Listen to this class as much as you can. It will continue to shift the energies for you. That's how it's kind of set up. Okay? So cool. Go out and see what would your life be like in 10 years if you used all these tools to create beyond and receive? And what would your life be like in 10 years if you didn't? And receive. Cool. To me, that's heavy, but to you, it might be something else. So play with it, have fun with it, When you're getting too serious about it, or you get the fear, doubt, all those energies come in, those aren't real. Those aren't you. Oust them out in whatever way works for you, whether that's the timeline, incineration, or the other things we've talked about here. Okay? Cool. And I'm here for you. If you have any questions, let me know. Me and my team will get back with you. And have a great time with the sheet this week. I can't wait to see what gets created over the next week for you. So big love to you. Bye-bye, and we'll see you next week.